Awesome, awesome.
Hi, everyone. So, welcome to, is this the fifth installment of the webinar series?
That's a
One,
great question. I think fourth.
fourth. There we go. Joelle is on it. So, just for those who are joining for the first time, I'm Amanda Janu. I work as the economics and policy lead at We All. And over the last few years, we've been focused on bringing together and connecting various state level economic systems change initiatives that share common characteristics of trying to advance an alternative definition of progress that's centered in social and ecological well-being as opposed to economic growth or profit maximization or extraction, that are working, realize the importance of a transformative economic vision to really advance that, and are organizing through multi-stakeholder networks and principles of deliberative participatory democracy. And so I guess it was almost 2 years ago now. We brought representatives from 7 different state level networks together, sort of explore the good, bad, and ugly of that work to date. And we're planning on having another gathering coming up, actually in Puerto Rico, in April. And so, as a way in which to not only get up to date on where people are at in terms of that work, but also to share with the broader community so, little glimmers of hope from the United States in these dark times. We wanted to provide an opportunity for folks to hear a bit about this. And I'm really thrilled to have Joelle be able to share a bit about Puerto Rico's Social Solidarity Economy Network. As the social solidarity economy movement is global, it's particularly strong, I think, in the United States in terms of, especially at grassroots levels, really trying to transform systems of ownership, but really embedded in alternative values that center cooperation and reciprocity, solidarity, and self-management. And Joel is one of these very unique people, I would say, in the economic systems change movement, and the fact that he doesn't just speak about these values, but he actually embodies them. He is probably one of the most, I don't know, compassionate and relational people when we were doing our planning process ahead of this next gathering. He was the one who I will always quote you now, Joelle, forever. Resources follow relationships. And so the importance of really centering first and foremost the relationships we hold in this space, and trusting in the power, and the wisdom and the collective consciousness together. And so really excited to hear a bit more about his journey in building the Puerto Rico Social Solidarity Economy Network, challenges, lessons learned, and maybe some next steps looking ahead. So over to you, Joel.
Awesome. Thank you very much. While I set up I'm going to share a quick presentation that I put together. I want to say that, thank you, Amanda and David and everyone, and Anna, everyone from the Wheel group that invited me to do this. I have 3 quick things to say. English is not my first language, so I might need help maybe translating a few things if I get lost in something. I don't think 10 minutes is going to be enough. We Latin people love to speak too much or too far or too long. So I hope that David will help me a little bit to get to the 10 minutes on time. And the last thing is that this is basically from my perspective. I am one of the leaders of the social and solidarity economy movement. And I'm going to share a little bit of my experience and how I've seen this develop. Okay. And since I believe not many people know too much about Puerto Rico, just wanted to give you a little historical context. We are right there smack in the middle of the Caribbean, almost literally. We are, the Puerto Rico is the smallest of the Greater Antilles, or the smaller or the bigger of the Lesser Antilles. You can see that we're very far into the Atlantic, so we hate when the US changes times because then we get all messed up. We are actually not an island. We're 5 islands. We're an archipelago, right? 3 of them are inhabited, and we're just so close to US Virgin Islands that I don't know why we're not the same thing. So there's a little bit of that. Geopolitically, we're also one of the territories that are closest to the old world. So for a long time, we were um, an asset when people didn't fly and had to move through boats. Um, let's see. Culturally, we're multicultural, multi-ethnic. We've got a lot of migrations. You know, we have settlers since 2500 BC. When Columbus got here, there was been at least 500 years of the Taino cultures, because now we know that there were a few ethnic groups that were that the Spanish lazily called Taino. Um, and during the Conquista, we kind of got left out. So it wasn't until the 1800s that we started getting more attention, because Spain was losing most of its colonies, and they opened up the island for people from Europe. So we have in the 1800s Corsicans and French and Germans and Galicians coming in. Then when we passed from being a colony of Spain to being a colony of the United States, there was a bunch of other migrations. We have an interesting Chinese population here, uh, the Chinos Boricuas. It's really interesting. And lately, they open up for very rich people to come in here. So we got a bunch of crypto bros here in the last 5 to 10 years that are messing up our GDP. But we also have migrated out. There's about 9 million Puerto Ricans in the world, and only a little bit over 3 million live on the islands. Everyone else are in around the States and in other countries. We had a huge migration in the 30s to Hawaii, a huge migration in the 50s to New York and Chicago, and the latest migration was after the 2007 thing that we've been exporting people to Florida. So we've lost a lot of people. We got a peak on almost over 4 million, and now we're down to 3 million. Politically, as I said, we're a colony, and we're probably one of the oldest colonies ever. Columbus found us on his second trip, and we haven't been independent ever after that. Actually, we were about 6 months autonomous from Spain, but then General Miles came in and kind of changed the course on that. We Puerto Ricans got, and right before one of the big wars, U.S. citizenship. I wonder why. And then in the last, when was it? I have it there. In 2016, we got a fiscal board. Oh, no, before that. In the 50s, we became a commonwealth. So from all the territories that the U.S., we are the farthest along to becoming a state, if we ever do. And then in 2016, we got imposed a fiscal board, which was Obama of all people, who actually control most of the budget of the political of the government, I meant. Economically, we have been an experiment for the United States. We've been experimented on for a lot of things. And the neoliberal experiment has been really, really going well. And we can talk about that later. Anyway, now the movement. In the 2000s, in my experience, the movement that is called the Solidarity Movement started in 2000s with a big push on after the social forum, the Global Social Forum. People started talking here about community economic development, and there were some networks that formed around that in the 2000s, and the university started bringing all of these wonderful people from South America to talk about solidarity economy in the 2010s. We got Pablo Guerra, who's an Uruguayan, Luis Razeto, which is from Chile, Klicksberg, which is Argentinian, later on Euclides Manse from Brazil, and Cecilia Valadez from Mexico. They all has informed us on how we see what we call the solidarity economy, which, as you can tell, it's a perspective from Latin America, and it's quite distinct from the solidarity economy movement in the States. In the 2019, we actually started, well, in the 2010s, after all these people were coming in, we started what we call the Society of the Economy of Solidarity, which fizzled out. And now in 2019 was when we started the network that I'm going to be talking about. And all through the 2020s, we've been then working really hard on spreading and solidifying the movement. But the movement didn't start in there, and we've had a really long history of co-ops here in Puerto Rico. The first co-op in Puerto Rico was established in 1873. The first law was in the 1920s, and throughout the 40s, 50s, and 60s, there was a big boom of co-ops. We have a credit union in each town. We have housing co-ops. We have gas station co-ops. We have third level insurance companies that are owned by all the co-ops. We have a federation of co-ops. We have an institute of co-ops in the University of Puerto Rico that has a bachelor's degree in co-ops and a master's degree in solidarity initiatives and co-ops. Though something happened in the 80s, you know, politically and economically, I'm being facetious here, and it started to be derailed. So from that derailment, a few other things started to pop up. We actually have a law of we call it the Workers' Owned Special Corporation, which is a for-profit that is for workers' owners. And in 2015, we got a law for benefit corporations and L3Cs. Basically, that's the basis for B Corps. And in 2025, we actually have 5 certified B Corps here. Most of them are part of the movement. But what really pushed the big energy to everything that's happening here was the hurricanes in 2017. And I say hurricanes in plural because we got 2 hurricanes in the same year. And the second one has one of the worst hurricanes in the history of the Caribbean, short from Melissa, which happened this year, that hit Jamaica and Cuba and the Bahamas. So from there, our government was non-existent. Actually, we kicked out our governor in 2019 because it was so bad. And there was a lot of different movement that started springing up. Mutual aid networks, community networks for aqueducts and microgrids, and community libraries, land trusts. In the last 5 years, we've been developing land trusts for the commons movement, and even a new political party sprung up from that. And the political party actually has an interesting. They have a committee on solidarity economy, just so you know. But in 2019, a group of us got together and we decided we wanted to do an international gathering of the social and solidarity economy. Over 200 people showed up, over 100 enterprises and co-ops and nonprofits were there. I forget the number, but it was more than 10, probably like 12 or 13 international speakers came in from Quebec, Mexico, Venezuela, the United States, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Spain. So it was really, really great 2 days of kind of like looking at what was bubbling up and actually seeing each other as part of a big community. And that's when the energy was ripe for us to become a network. And in 2019, we got a network. We got mission and vision and principles that we developed through the 2020. And the four main aims that I'm sharing here are basically the network is to link um, enterprises and communities that are working on circular economy. We promote and strengthen and make visible those enterprises. We develop the movement and the theory and the practice of the circular economy. And the fourth is that we want to influence the economy and transform it to something that actually works for everyone. Because right now it's working very well for a few people, but not for everyone. Um, since 2019, we've done a gathering every year. We've done site visits. A group has done trueques, which are swaps or bartering fairs every year as well. Actually, that started in 2010 when we had a bartering network. Um, we've invited people to do webinars and basically everything that we can do to spread the word. This year, Pablo Guerra, which is kind of like a nice circle, but he was the first intellectual that came to visit. He presented a book called Homo Solidarius instead of being Homo economicus. So Homo Solidarius is a great book. I'm just a third through reading it. And the gathering this year was really interesting because two academics presented their research on the solidarity economy of Puerto Rico, one on the profiles and one that is theorizing how we can move our manufacturing sector into a solidarity economy sector, which is pretty cool. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. Basically, and this is one of the things that I'm most proud of, the network is self-organized. We self-fund everything. So all the resources come from the network. As Amanda said, resources come from relationships. And that's what's one of the main ideas behind the solidarity economy. As we strengthen relationships is how we can flourish economically. And so to give you a quick example on how this works, in our last um, gathering, the Liga de Cooperativas, the Co-op Federation, put the space where we gather. The FIDECOOP, which is a fund that supports co-ops here in Puerto Rico, put the lunch and the coffee, which coffee is very important. No coffee, no meetings. The IMEX, which is the Association of Microenterprise Incubators, help us with disseminating and promoting the event. SENACE, which is a program of the Liga de Cooperativas, uh, set up all the technical parts to do the Facebook Live, and they recorded it and uploaded to YouTube. And they actually did the segment where the speakers were sharing their findings. How do you call it? Continuous education credits for co-ops here in Puerto Rico. My store put me as a resource. I was the MC this time. Coopera, which is an educational-based organization, did most of the organizing. La Nahuabeña, which is a credit union, put a resource to help us with the agenda and the presentation and the how do you call that, the those little cute things that we post on Instagram.
Social media, yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Tereques actually did the social media, but Naguabeña did the Canva things to share about. So as you can tell, and then Palabreria, which is a public relation B Corp here in Puerto Rico, facilitated some of the dynamics to kind of make sense of what we had heard from the academics.
So Joel, might be a good time to transition to Q&A. If you've got one or two more points, that'd be great. But
Super quick, the challenges. We don't have a clarified structure and a level of commitments. There are a lot of things that are happening that are not visible in the movement, but we would love to have them be included. And we are working still on doing economic circuits to link all of our businesses. And I'll finish with this quote that when a system is far from equilibrium, small islands of coherence in a sea of chaos have the capacity to lift the entire system to a higher order. And I believe our network is focused on supporting, taking care of, and attending to those islands of coherence because we want to transform the economic system of Puerto Rico and the world. And that's the way we can do it. All right.
That was
Thank
awesome.
David.
I love that quote. I'm hoping to capture it before we're all done. Well, I guess it's being recorded on video. But thank you so much. Sorry to rush the last part of it, but I
I
think
asked you for it, so thanks.
yes,
Thank you.
the questions will feed right into the same topic, which is, sort of what you were talking about. And what we're specifically going to start the questions with is how are the group of people coming together? Who decides who's in, who's out, and how are those relationships being formed? Like who's sort of creating the boundaries that help keep the relationships going?
Well, that's really interesting, and that's something that we've been talking about the last couple of years. We do not want the network to become an association. The associations for me are transactional. You pay a member's fee, and then you wait or you expect something in return from that membership. And we don't want it that. We want it to be a relational network where the more you participate, the more you get back from the network. So the more you buy from other people, the more you put resources into doing gatherings, the more you actually get visible on the network for other people to help out and connect with you. I'm not sure if I answered completely, but
Yeah, well, we're off to a good start. No, you're I guess is there some system that manages that, or everybody it's just pull your own weight and you contribute something, or is there some like interweaving system that allows people to connect, or just
well, as with everything, well, okay, the gatherings are the places where people connect. And usually there's a group of people that are more active in the network, and those are the ones who actually then coordinate and invite the network.
yeah.
So we now are starting to clarify those levels of commitment. So because we know that there are people that will be part of the movement, but they don't want to be part of the network, and that's okay. And there are people that can only participate in activities, but they cannot put resources or time or anything. And then there are those who can. So it's going to be those who can, who will and have been shouldering the movement. And we did try last year to do a pass to a new way of working it, and it just didn't work. We have to figure a different way of getting more people involved, so it's not the same 10 of us who are doing things.
Right, you're just sort of tapping the same resources and maybe exhausting them at some point.
Yeah, we love doing it.
Right,
That's also not something that, but have been people that have become more less active, right? They have become less active,
sure.
and we do need to bring more people in to get
Yeah,
to do more things, right? Because we
yeah.
have a lot of opportunities to do more things.
Yeah. And so as we're wrapping up 2025 and moving in 2026, it's natural to start thinking, what do I want to do differently? Are there one or two or three things that feel like, in order to bring more people in or get them more involved, that are on your mind, or on the group's mind?
Yes, we're gonna start doing a cycle of I call it like listening sessions to start adjusting this thing of the levels of commitment, right? And how we can connect the spaces where decisions are being made with the activities and that come from the network.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'd love to offer Anna, if you've got question or two that you want to ask before turning it over to Amanda, and then.
Thanks, David. And thank you so much, Joel. That was amazing. I love the phrase that you used, strengthening relationships is how we flourish economically. Because the order matters, like relationships first, and then we can flourish economically. I also love the point that you raised around getting more people involved. And that would be my question to you. Practically, how do you do it? Because, usually we reach out to the people who are in our immediate network. And understandably, right? Because maybe they have the resources, they have a bit more time, they have the knowledge, they have the desire. But how can you ensure that we create spaces for those that they are not part of the immediate network for different reasons, right? Because of their background, because of limited time. So how can you find that balance between these two?
I do not have the complete answer for that, but so far, what we have been doing is creating the spaces for people to participate. So gatherings are important, and it's in the gatherings that we do that relationship building. We want to make it, and we still don't know how to do it, but we do want to start those economic circuits that for everyone to start joining economically, not only relationship. I don't know. I just made up that word. So sorry, I skipped whatever was going to say. I saw someone laughing and I got distracted. But yeah, that ask the question again, because I
That's okay. We're like I told you before, we're a well-being economy, so we're allowed to have laughter and joy and part
there
of
you
all
go.
this. In fact, it's
Yeah.
encouraged. So anyway, Anna, was there another part of that you wanted to?
Did I answer?
She says
Yes,
you
and
answered.
yeah.
Okay.
And let me
Yeah.
confirm that the gatherings are in person, right?
Yes, during the pandemics, we did it via Zoom. When we have
Mhm.
webinars, we do it virtually, but we do try to make it in person, because it's different, the quality of the relationship that we do. And the site visits that we started doing were done outside the San Juan, our capital city. So also people could gather some other in some other areas of Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is tiny, the longest trip is about 2.5, 3 hours. But still, we're insular, and we think that half an hour is long distance for us.
So just to give everybody a level set and prepare people, I'm gonna give Amanda a question or two, and then want to encourage people from the other state networks who've presented before or going to present to have some time to ask Joel questions. And then we'll open it up to everybody after that. So Amanda, any question?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so my question, you just mentioned this, but I know you had to go through it pretty quickly. So that vision of the economic circuits, if you just want to share a bit more of that, is that sort of like integrated supply chains, like this vision of like within your community or of particular types of enterprises, or yeah, what does that look like
Like,
in your
but I
vision?
think it was 2 or 3 years ago, we got a webinar with Euclides Manse, which is this Brazilian author and thinker of the solidarity economy, who is behind this concept of the solidarity economic circuits, and basically is ways in which we start linking our services and goods, so money and resources stay within the network. So it strengthens economically the network to be able to do more things. And that's why it's called circuits, because it's connected like the circuits and the electricity circuits. So that's kind of like the direction we want to go. I envision it to be regional, with regional hubs, where people can start doing that connection of looking for services and looking for goods to use with our organizations from the network. And a lot of people have brought the idea of doing a directory, but directories are very time consuming and just they don't necessarily work. So we have to figure out a different way. Euclides has an app that actually people go in to look for things and to offer things. And the app actually also has a complementary coin that you can get services and goods for that. And so it's going to be in that direction. But right now, I think first we need to strengthen the network as a network to then start focusing on that second part. That at least that's my view.
It's really exciting.
It is.
Love that. And if I may, one other question, because I know you had to go through challenges quickly. And my question was just around, have you had to deal with any conflict within your network, like between individuals? And if so, like how have you managed that conflict?
Yes. At the beginning, when there was a lot of energy and a lot of people that wanted to participate and do things, we just didn't know what we were doing. So there was a lot of friction. And what ended up happening was that people that were not happy with how things were going, they just left. Right? So we did try to open spaces to have the conversation and the dialogue, but then when we opened the space, those people would not come in. They just disappeared. So we haven't tried anything beyond that, because after they left, we didn't have any more friction, and we just kept doing all the wonderful things that we've been doing with the people who are actually attracted to what we're doing.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Thank you. I can relate. I think we all can relate to that as well. So, Lindsay, Molly, Mason, I'll start with you guys. If you guys have any questions you'd like to ask, of course, there's no pressure to ask questions, but just want to give you first shot if you'd like. So, Joel's eager for a question from one of the three of you. If not, let's just open it up to everybody else who just, if you'd either raise your physical or virtual hand so I could see you, and just asking if people keep it to a question as opposed to like sharing about your own network or something like that. That would be terrific. If not, Anna, Amanda, and I have lots more questions for Joelle. So anyone else have a question?
I see a couple questions from Nairuti in the chat.
Nairuti, would you like to come on mic and ask them, or someone else could read them if you're not able to or prefer not to? So
yeah, no, happy to jump on. Can folks hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, Joelle, thank you so much for your presentation. There were so many historical and cultural elements of Puerto Rico that I wasn't familiar with, or I guess hadn't thought about how they would be impacting the current economic system. So just really thank you for that grounding. Two of the questions that I had, the first one was really just to understand what the network and the movement's relationship is with the state. So that could be, any level of state, municipality, or else. And then the second piece was, something that I know we really struggle with in the States, especially in a place like Virginia, which was, home of the Confederacy, is there's a kind of there are some cities that have a really radical provenance, like Chicago or Baltimore. And then there are other places, particularly in like suburban environments, which is where I live, where from a narrative and like cultural perspective, we really struggle to get to gain some ground with these kinds of concepts. So I'm curious, from your experience in doing this work relationally, I imagine, you really have to tell more compelling stories about why this way of doing things and being in an economy is more compelling or whatever that is. So yeah, would love to just hear your reflections on that. So yeah, those are my two questions. Thank you.
Awesome. Those are two really good questions. Let's see how can I answer them. Thank you. The first one, the relationship with the state. The state government right now is too focused on themselves to be able to care about anything else. Let's just put it that way. And we don't necessarily have a relationship with them yet. This year, the Senate was trying to put together a fund for community economic development, and they asked us for our opinion. That was interesting that actually someone in the government knew about us. We do have some relationship with some municipalities. Not all municipalities are open to this kind of things, but when we have done the bigger gatherings, the 2019 and I believe the 2022, we did invited the mayors and they sent people from the municipal government to be part of those gatherings. And it's the same as with everyone else. They're just another participant, right? And we don't look at them as above us or below us. They just come in and they want to share and receive from the network. That's how it goes. But there is at least one municipality that is focusing on developing municipally supported co-ops, which is really interesting. And there's at least 3 other municipalities that are doing community development. All the other 70 are not. So anyway, and that's one. And then the stories. We thankfully have in the network 2 public relations companies that actually help us with the promotion and we haven't done a narrative workshop and anything, but they do help us with that. So I am not the one to be able to answer how we do it. We just that they know how to do it. They help us with the framing, and we do the invitations. And one thing that I would say is that when we invite, we make it so people actually feel invited, right? And the wording is that it's okay for you not to come, right? Don't feel bad if you can't, but if you do, you're gonna, you're gonna be with us, type of idea. There was something else I wanted to say about that. Anyway, so yeah, so we and right, and when we are gathered, we make a point of thanking everyone and making visible those who actually put resources into for the gathering or the activity to be possible, right? And that's also very important to make visible the people that are actually active in the network. That way we keep them in the network, right? How to get new people in, we haven't figured out. And one thing that I couldn't say during my presentation is that even if we recognize that there are a bunch of really cool things happening here, like mutual aid centers and community. There's a Montessori public school network, right? There are 5 land trust networks, the land trusts, and they're not part of the network. And we do want them to be part of the network, but they still don't see themselves there. And even co-ops don't see themselves being part of the network, which is really sad. One of the research that were shown in our last gathering, it was about the profile of the people who do economic solidarity here in Puerto Rico. And she said that it's a she doctor, right? The academic, the Doctora Grisel Reyes. She said that it was shocking that she actually went to some of the bigger co-ops and asked them to fill out the papers, and they were like, "Oh no, we don't do that thing of solidarity economy. Why are you asking us about that?" Right? And they are co-ops, right? So yeah, we still have some, even if we're doing, I believe with the resources we have, we're doing wonderfully. There's still a lot more things that we can do to bring more people in to do the things that we want to do.
Yeah, I can certainly relate to that also. Elias, looks like you had a question in the chat. Did you want to ask it vocally or?
Sure. I'm enjoying Joel's presentation. I was aware of the mutual aid work during the hurricanes because of the film made by Shareable, which we put in the
Yes.
chat. It's really great. I just wondered, is there a connection between your work, Joel, and the mutual aid stuff that rose up in the aftermath of the hurricanes in some way?
Yes, they're all friends of mine. Actually, it's really interesting because most of the mutual aid centers came from people who were doing Occupy in 2010 in Puerto Rico. So when they already have built this sense of organizing, and when the hurricanes hit, they just went outside and went to the farthest points of Puerto Rico where there was more need, and they started doing the centers there. And they're really, really cool things have been coming up from those centers. Not all of them come to our gatherings, which is one of the interesting things. I do invite them; they're my friends, but those are the type that I haven't figured out how to make the invitation welcoming enough for them to participate. But yes, that shareable documentary is wonderful, and they have even developed beyond what you see in the documentary. All of them are still working, and they're anchors for their communities right now.
That's awesome. I saw a couple other people comment in the chat. And again, if you want to ask a question live, just be easier if I see your hand or if you come on screen or your virtual hand, or sometimes it's hard to tell who's commenting. So was there anyone else who had a question? Well, I've got some more, and I know Amanda probably does also. But I guess since I did cut you off your presentation a little short and rushed you towards the end, I'm curious if there was other things that you wanted to share. Well, we also have Allison raising her hand. So your choice, Joel. Would you like to share something that you weren't able to before, or?
I think I was able to finish. Let's see, most of what I wanted to say from those challenges. So let's hear Allison and Derek.
Yeah, great, Allison.
Thanks, Joel. Awesome presentation.
Thank you.
I actually just wanted to bring attention to a question in the chat, which I love, which is from Yara. Are there any artists or cultural workers doing this work?
Yes.
I don't know, Yara, if you would like to say your question, and I can add some thoughts to it, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yes, there's actually cultural and arts incubator that is part of our network, and they actually do attend. They don't coordinate much, but when we invite to the gatherings, they come. And there's a strong one of the things that we export from Puerto Rico, aside from medicines, half of the meds that you take in the States are made in Puerto Rico. It's culture and music and art, music specifically. And so there's a creative industry support network that is with a similar idea. Actually, the founder came from the co-op movement. So he is always taking the incubation and the support and the center that they have with the idea of solidarity at the core. So yes.
Yeah.
And yes.
No, I was just going to ask if Allison wanted to contribute to the question also. So you're on mute, Allison. So.
Oh, yeah, no, I thought it was a great question because it's a really rich part of the way that cooperativism and social movements for economic change are done. It's really integrated across. There's murals, there are a lot of artist co-ops, and there are artists that work very closely with researchers and storytellers. But also I saw that Derek's hand was up, so I wanted to make sure that
Cool.
there's time for his question.
Thank you, Allison.
Derek, please go ahead.
Thanks, Allison. Hi, all. Derek from Washington State. Nice to see you, and thanks for presenting. So my question was really more digging back into where we were a minute ago around, co-ops not seeing themselves maybe in the language, and going deeper kind of into that kind of narrative question of what resonates, what isn't, how do you see that differently, in Puerto Rico than the mainland, or what kind of, just kind of how important the language is or not, or just what's getting across, and how important is it folks use the language, or are there other strategies you're thinking about to embed the kind of logic of what you're trying to move, even in spaces that maybe never see themselves as part of your work?
Okay. So a good chunk of the co-ops right now are what I call capitalist co-ops. We do have a credit union in every single municipality, but a good chunk of them, when all the main banks closed in Puerto Rico, except for 3 in the last 10 years. So a lot of the bankers moved to the credit unions, and they've been informing the credit unions in a different way to say that. So now credit unions are consider themselves part of that solidarity economy. And also the government has shifted from supporting, because the government has agencies that support and develop co-ops, right? And they have shifted their support to develop what they call commercial co-ops for small business owners to be able to compete with transnationals. So there's a pharmacy co-op, which is a bunch of small pharmacies. There's the laboratory co-op. There's a few farmers co-ops that they all have all the people come with this capitalist mindset to get together and receive the benefits of being a co-op, because there are some tax incentives when you do a co-op here in Puerto Rico. That's a personal critique, right? Not everyone thinks that way. So one of the things that we've been trying to do is to get the voice across the people who are doing already solidarity economy as we see it, to strengthen what we believe is the solidarity economy, right? I haven't thought of how to bring people that are not doing solidarity economy yet, right? If we speak to the choir, we almost speak to the uh, feligresía, the people in the church, but we haven't spoken to anyone outside the church, right? And it's basically because we're so small that I feel that we do need to strengthen who we are before expanding. That's also another reason we have not been in contact with government yet, because we don't want to be co-opted by this, as the general a good chunk of the co-op movement have been. So this thing of narratives, sincerely, I'm not the best person to answer that. We do have, however, this network of incubators who are doing the work to get micro enterprise with the chip of solidarity in starting their businesses, right? And there's 7 incubators, 1 accelerator that are focused on social and/or solidarity enterprises. So little by little, it's been moving among there. And there's a couple of educational members, or members who are in the education industry, who are also producing podcasts and literature and blogs to be able to start spreading the word. But on a narrative, we actually right now don't have a narrative that we can call ourselves, right? That is ours. Did I answer what you were?
I thought so. I have a follow-up question, though, on it. One, and you may have already said this, but maybe I didn't pull it out. And also, we're going to wrap up in a few minutes, so if anyone's got a final question, let me know. But you talked about you'd like to strengthen the network first, and I guess I could take that to mean several different things. But for what does that mean for you to strengthen the network first?
Okay. Let's see, how can a little bit of theory on solidarity economy is that solidarity comes from the word solid, right? Physics, which is when the molecules of an item are so strong, the relationship of the molecules are so strong that it becomes solid, right? So seeing it that way, what we want is to strengthen those relationships, right? That's what I mean with strengthening relationship. So instead of being a liquid, which is, malleable and fluid and you can break apart easily, or a gas, which is not even connected, how we focus on strengthening the relationships amongst our participants to be able to flourish, economically,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
First, and then we can say, see, this is what solidarity economy is, and if you are part of this movement, you can also flourish as the way we are flourishing.
That's awesome. Thank you. So one last question: who would like to take up that honor?
If there's no question, I might have something to share.
You're more than welcome to. Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
please.
Because something that we've been doing as well is that in Puerto Rico, since we've been an experiment of this whole neoliberal thing that has been happening, actually the U.S. experiments first with us, and then they exported to the U.S. There's also a lot of other different economies happening in Puerto Rico, right? And with Allison, we've been getting in contact with these people that are doing other economies that are not the solidarity economy, right? The solidarity economy is people focused, is relationship focused, and there's the blue economy, which is related to the oceans, and the circular economy, which is materials, the donut economy, the feminist economy, the commons economy, that all of these economies are that we have examples of them here. So something that Alison and I have been doing with the help of the Wheel Alliance is beginning a dialogue, a conversation within all these economies to see if we can actually help each other at a different level. And most likely, we're going to end up doing, and this is my point of view, we're going to be doing something on narratives, because that's what I feel that might happen, but we don't know what's going to happen. But we're in that process, and we're happy that a lot of people have connected with this initiative that Alison and I have been holding.
Yeah. Yeah. And it seems to me that's kind of what Amanda is hoping to do with the different state networks, is build up the solidarity between those and support each other and strengthen them. So thank you for coming today and sharing all these things so wonderfully. I think we all appreciate it. Let's hear it for Joel and for Alison. And woo, and thank you everyone for coming today and sharing. And Molly, who's here, will be going next in February. So we're excited to hear about what's happening in her network, and hopefully see everybody soon. Thank you.
Can I just answer Yara's
Absolutely.
question really quick?
Please.
She asked, how can we participate in these conversations? You can get a hold with me or Joel, and I can put my, are you connected with Joel, or Joel, should I put my info in the chat for her?
Yep, put it there.
Okay.
Puerto Rico
Yeah,
Wheel.
please go ahead. Anything else verbally you want to share? I'll stop the recording, Alison. So
I'm putting we have an email address for our project. I'm putting that in there. And if you want to, I'll put my phone number too, if you have any questions, if you want to chat or text or converse, you can call me.
beautiful. And Amanda or Anna, any last closing thoughts?
No, I'm just so grateful. That was
Yeah,
fantastic.
thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
And congratulations too, for not just grateful, congratulations on everything you've built. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
all right.
thanks everyone. Thanks Alison and Amanda and David and Anna. I want to thank Francis and Amarilis who helped me with the presentation as well.
Looked great. Yeah.
Yeah.